जी किरपाल जी सारे जगदा तूफाली आए तेरे दरबार जी चली फर देह खाली मेरे जया ने लखाते हजारा लखाते हजारा मैं भी ता खड़ी सतगुरु तैनु पुकारा तैनु पुकारा मेरे जया तैनु लखाते हजारा लखाते हजारा मैं भी ता खड़ी सतगुरु तैनु पुकारा तैनु पुकारा फसी हावीच मजदार दे तेरे दार दे आई रुल दी रुलारी गले लगा ले सतगुर प्यारे आ मेरी पेशना जांदी सावन दातू लाल जी किरपाल जी सारे जगदा तूफाली आए तेरे दरबार जी झोली भर देह खाली
Hello everyone, welcome to today's satsang. Hello. Okay, so Harinder ji is going to sing us a poem called Pyari Ladai, meaning a lovely fight. Then we have introduction by Michael. Then Prempal ji is going to talk about the 6 centers below the Sachkhand. Then we'll have short dhyan session for 5 minutes. Then we'll play Master's YouTube video, and then we'll do group meditation with love and devotion. Thank you so much. Now we'll start the poem.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good night. How are you all? So, every time you must be thinking, my poem is always love and resentment, and sometimes there is fight. I always say we can fight only with the people to whom we take as our very close to us. So, Master is very close to us. And I wrote this poem when I was in something I was questioning, very important. I was sending him emails and I was not getting answer. And then I was in bit bad mood. Then I got a fight with my father. Then I wrote this poem. It goes like this. Though you guys already have the translation, but I will again little bit say it in English. If you're always with me, then why there is a distance? Why there is helplessness in my every question? If you are the creator of this world, then why me and my? If you know everything beforehand, then why are you so arrogant? If you take me as your child, then why don't you recognize me? Recognize me. If you are my identity, then what is my designation? If you taught me to walk in this world by holding your hand, then where is my final destination? If you hold my hand as a friend, then why there is any test? If you chose me from millions, then what should I lend to you for that? There is a limit of every test. What is the duration of my this condition? So this is the translation of Punjabi poem, and I wrote it in Punjabi because I can express myself well in Punjabi. So the I was when I was giving a title to this poem, I gave so many titles, my queries, negotiation, but I finalized the name Pyar Di Ladai, because when there is fight with love, then there is no breakup. That is the best ladai. So it goes like this. Pyari ladai. ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਦੂਰੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ? ਮੇਰੇ ਹਰ ਸਵਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਮਜਬੂਰੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਕੁਲ ਮਾਲਿਕ ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਹੈ ਜਾਨੀ ਜਾਨ ਤਾਂ ਐਨੀ ਮਗਰੂਰੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਸਮਝੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਬੇਪਛਾਣ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਨ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਹੈਸੀਅਤ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਉਂਗਲੀ ਫੜ ਤੁਰਨਾ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਰਾਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੰਜ਼ਿਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਦਾ ਹੱਥ ਫੜਾਇਆ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਦਾ ਇਮਤਿਹਾਨ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਜੇ ਚੁਣਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਰੋੜਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਦੇਣਦਾਰੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਹਰ ਇਮਤਿਹਾਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਹੱਦ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰੇ ਇਸ ਹਾਲ ਦੀ ਬੁਨਿਆਦ ਕੀ ਹੈ? So these are few lines, and then I just want to end this thing by saying 4 lines. It means I never wrote any poem before. Your separation made me a poetess. So it goes like this in Punjabi. ਨਾ ਸੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਕਦੇ ਕਵਿਤਾ, ਤੇਰੇ ਵਿਛੋੜੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਵਿਤਰੀ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਮੇਰੀ ਅਰਜ਼ੀ ਦੀ ਅਰਜ਼ ਵੀ ਕਦੇ ਸੁਣ ਲਵੋ, ਮੇਰੀ ਇਸ ਆਸ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪੈਗਾਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਨਾ ਲਵੋ ਇੰਨੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਹੀ ਟੁੱਟ ਜਾਵੇ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਬੇਟੀ, ਕਿਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੱਕ ਨਾ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਵੇ। Thank you. That's for me too. That's it.
Sister Harinder, thank you so much. That poem is a poem of frustration of our of our spiritual journey. We all go through periods of frustration, really, and we question Father God, we question Master, why is this and why is that, and we don't understand. It is just every disciple goes through this. All the saints and masters went through this. Let me read you something. This is from, I read it this morning. Let me just find it. But it is from Saint Ravidas about his frustration. He is a saint, a perfect master, but on his way to God, he went through the same thing. Let me read it to you. 1 second. Let me just find it. Just give me a second. I think it was on page. Guru Ravidas says, "What can I really know, O Lord? I am sold into the hands of mind and Maya. The fugitive mind runs in four directions, and the five senses remain not steady. These senses together have spoiled my mind, and day after day they have erected barriers between me and the Lord divine. So this these stages of spiritual development, all the saints and masters have went through. And if all the saints and masters have went through, that means Ishwar Puri Ji has went through, Sant Thakar Singh has went through, and Baba Sawan Singh has went through. They all had to go through these stages. And these stages are there for a reason. The feeling of separation, the feeling of distance between us and the Lord. This is all to create a yearning, an inner yearning towards God, an inner yearning towards Master, and it just ignites more and more our holy fire, that we cling to the hand of Master more, and it is just like pulling us pulling us. This yearning, this pain of separation, this frustration is pulling us more towards meditation, towards self introspection, and towards perfecting our inner self and killing the mind, which Guru Nanak says, without killing the mind, no one can see the Lord. That the mind, which is a thief without heads, the mind is a thief without heads, and it steals the wealth of the disciples, of the devotees of God. It comes and it steals through the mind, and the sensual sense and the senses are attached to each other. They are attached to each other. Then they are one and the same. The mind runs after the senses to gratify the senses, and these senses are attached to the mind, and they engulf the soul. They engulf the soul, and they control the soul, which is pristine and divine in its own properties. Yet it is dragged by the mind and by the senses. So the way the saints prescribed is the shabd, that the shabd is the only way to kill the mind. And what does killing the mind mean? Killing the mind means not killing the mind. You know, the mind is inert and it gets its power from the soul. However, to kill the mind means to take it to the Brahman, to the Brahm, where the universal mind is. Once our individual mind merges in the universal mind, there it will be satisfied, and it will not be restless anymore. That the people, the yogis, the yogis and the rishis and the munis tried to control the mind by doing mortification to the body, by putting austerities on the body, and trying all types of ways and means to torture their body, or to do austerities, or to so many ways they have tried, the rishis and the munis. Yet they have all failed. They could not kill the mind. That the human being, could tame horses, could tame elephants, could tame anybody, but he could not tame his own mind. That the mind is a powerhouse that is just below God in power. It is very, 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 very powerful. And it's always sitting there trying to watch our weaknesses and trying to snatch us and snatch our wealth that we gain from meditation and from thinking of Master and connecting with the Shabd. That at every moment the mind is there trying its power, with all its power, trying to find our weaknesses. And if we are not careful, it brings us down. And when it brings us down, then we feel separation from the Lord. This is the reason why we are separate. We feel the separation and the frustration is because the mind has stolen our wealth and has put a barrier between us and the Lord. And that's when the suffering starts. That's when the suffering starts, and the yearning, and the the inner frustration of the heart. So how do the saints say that this can be what's the remedy of this? They say the only remedy is the Naam that comes from the grace of the Master. That when the Master really makes us taste the inner enjoyments, when we taste the inner enjoyments of the high spiritual planes, then the mind will be satisfied, and it will and all the outer pleasures and the sensual pleasures, they become insipid, and they become unimportant once we taste the inner joys and the inner bliss and the inner enjoyments of the spiritual planes. So Naam, Guru Nanak says, Naam is the only way that we can kill our mind. And then when our mind is completely still, when our mind is completely controlled, then the Lord shows himself. So unless that stage has happened, then the Lord will not show himself. The mind has to be fully controlled. And in order for the mind to be fully controlled, we have to, with the grace of Master, of course, we have to wage the war on our lower self, on our lower self. That means mind and senses and everything that stands between us and the Lord. And how do we wage this war of liberation? We have to, no matter what, we have to keep our our regular meditation, listening to the Shabd regularly, and uh, and doing satsang and doing meditation. As after the master leaves the body, then there is a big gap, and then there is confusion, and the negative power, the mind, the negative power, or I can call it the mind, comes in its full force. Comes in its full force after the master leaves the body. When the master is among us, then that power, the Shabd controls us from outside. But when the master leaves, then the negative power kicks in, and people who have not attained their inner master and who are not very steadfast in their meditation and holding the way of Sant Mat and the teachings of the masters through the master's satsang and regular meditation, they are swayed by the negative power. Over my lifetime, I mean, this since I was initiated by Sant Thakar Singh, and when Sant Thakar Singh left the body, I have seen, and he spoke to us before, and he warned us. He warned us how, when the master leaves the body, very few people find where the power, where that real power, where the total one is, and then the negative power takes place. And what happens when the negative power takes effect? Then the disciples start not following Sant Mat, not following what Saint Kabir taught, what Guru Nanak taught, and what all the perfect masters has taught. They are pulled. They are pulled by lower masters of the lower chakras of the body. They are not. They don't stay here, but they start to concentrate, many of them, on the lower chakras, and they go to other masters that are not from the holy light and the holy sound. They're like yogis and avatars, and that is very dangerous situation. That is very dangerous situation, because the mind tries to wipe out all the truth, all the knowledge of God, all the teachings of the saints and masters. It tries to wipe it out. It tries to wipe out the way of the holy light and the holy sound, and it puts in front of us so many other ways. And the people who are not strong on the path, who are not strong on the path, will be taken away. And I have seen so many disciples being taken by other masters who are not from the holy light and sound, and being just swayed by the mind. Just the mind becomes very strong. That is why in this period that we are in now, without the perfect one, it is very important that to stick to stick with his teachings by watching his satsangs, by gathering in his name, by meditating on the holy light and the holy sound the way he prescribed it, and keeping steadfast, and never ever leave the hand of the master. That he has left his physical body, but he's inside of us, and we have to keep hold of his inner hand inside of us to keep progressing day and night, and not to allow the other power who is sitting there with all its force to just yank us from the path, as it is trying to take advantage of this time and to take us away through so many temptations and all the sensual pleasures and everything. It puts all it has in the way of the perfect saints and the way of the perfect masters. So the remedy for that is just to keep living in our master, to keep listening to the holy shabd that tames the mind, that gives the inner experiences. And when we have inner experiences, these are carrots that keep taking us one step and another step towards totality. And at some point, all these frustrations, all these doubts, and all these hindrances will be removed when Master graces us. When Master graces us, and that grace will come for every person at an anointing time, at a time that is set in our destiny for enlightenment. It cannot come before, it cannot be forced. It is a set time that the inner gates will flood us, and then there will be union between us and the beloved. And once there is union, then all other pleasures of the mind that exist in time and space, we will find them boring, and we will want to run after the inner bliss and inner pleasure that comes from inside. So we all go through this, Sister Harinder. We all go through this period, and all the saints and masters, just like I read, Guru Ravidas and Saint Kabir went through it. We all go through it. It's part of our spiritual development, and but they always talk about how hard this journey is, and it's only for the brave souls who stick with it. To be brave is to stick with the holy light and the holy sound. And even if we lose a battle outside and the mind attacks us outside, not to lose the war, and the next day to just pick up ourselves and hold the hand of Master again, pray to the Master from the depth of the heart. Please, Master, just like Ravidas did, that he said, I am sold into the hands of mind and Maya. You know, my mind is a fugitive, and it runs in all directions. And we put our hand like that, and we beg our Master to control our mind. We beg our Master to control our mind and to keep His grace on us so we can keep meditating. So no matter what kind of karma we go through, we never stop the meditation. That's the most important thing. This is just what came up now from the poem of dear Sister Harinder. I wanted to read to you about the inner regions. I opened this morning from Saint Kabir, the weaver of God's name, and he talks about the inner regions, uh, beyond of the astral, causal, and supercausal, and what few saints have described what's inside. Swamiji and Saint Kabir did say hints of what is beyond time and space that cannot be described with the words, of the triquity and the Brahman and the Par Brahm and the lights and the sounds and the swans that are enjoying in bliss over there, over the lotus flowers that are blooming. I wanted to read to you this, but I can do this tomorrow. And I will play now our dear brother Prempal. I think he's also gonna talk about the inner regions. But yeah, what Saint Kabir here wrote is very, very beautiful about the inner regions. I will read to you tomorrow. Okay, so let me play our dear brother, and thank you, Master. Thank you, Master, for the seva. Um,
Radha Swami, everyone. I will talk about the next 6 centers or 6 chakras that are below Sachkhand. Last time I stopped at the universal mind area or Brahm area, the 12th center. Every time you exit from one center, go to the next and next, there is always a connection between. While you leave Brahm, that exited door will also connect you to the next level. All these levels are different levels, like the first 6 chakra or energy chakras. Those are the different levels of energy. The next 6 center or 6 chakras that I talked about last time are the different level of awareness. And the next 6 center or 6 chakra I'm going to talk about today is different level of consciousness. Energy, awareness, consciousness. Energy belongs to the physical body, awareness belongs to the mind, and consciousness belongs to the soul, because the soul is consciousness. Soul is conscious because it is a part of the totality of consciousness. Consciousness. The reason I started, I remember Ishwar Puri Maharaj told a story one time in the satsang that his uncle, he was a meteorologist in Karachi, and Hajur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh ji decided to go there, and Ishwar Puri Maharaj told that he was in his childhood area, childhood times. Uh, he also went with Baba Sawan Singh ji, and his uncle, he was a good friend of a Swami known as Swami Brahmananda ji. And Swami Brahmananda ji, he was a yogi and doing yoga at the physical level. He knew about the 6 energy centers, but he never knew about the next awareness center and the consciousness. So all these yogi men believing that this is everything. But the perfect living masters knows everything. At that time when Babaji went there to Karachi, and they invited Swami Brahmanandji, and Swami Brahmanandji said, okay, when Master Baba Sawan Singh ji comes, I will give him my blessings. That's what exactly happened. And when Swamiji Maharaj came, Swami Brahmanandji with yellow currant, saffron clothes, very bright face, and Baba Sawan Singh ji was sitting there, and Swami Brahmanandji said, Ashishman Ashirwad. Then everybody was surprised, and Baba Sawan Singh said, Pranam Swamiji. They both sat down, and Baba Sawan Singh ji said, Swamiji Maharaj, these days, all the Swamis, they are stuck in 6 chakras, and they don't even know there are 12 more. There are 18 chakras together. And Swami Brahmanandji was so surprised to hear it. He said, I never heard about those 18 chakras. Can you please explain it to me? Then Baba Sabanji said, Swamiji Maharaj, it is a big topic. Just come to Vyas, then I will explain it to you. Then after that, Swami Brahmanandji decided to go to Vyas and became one of the best disciples, very good disciple of great master. Then he had experience at the, he already had energy level experience, different levels of energy at the physical body. After that, when he got Namdan, or when he got initiation from Hajur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh ji, because then he made a lot more progress. Then he realized what is awareness and what is consciousness. All these centers of chakras, they are different levels. Energy levels, awareness levels, and consciousness level. Now these 6 chakras or 6 centers I'm going to talk about has been explained by Lekhraj Puri ji, Professor Lekhraj Puri, dad of Ishwar Puri ji Maharaj. He explained it the way I am explaining. That's how he explained those chakras in his books. So next 6 are Now we are beyond time and space. Now these 6 center or chakras, they are below Sachkhand, but they are above Brahm. Now there is Par Brahm. Par means to cross something. Brahm means universal mind area or Terkuti. Once you cross Terkuti, that's Brahm. Now you enter in the Par Brahm. That means you're crossing the Brahm and going to the next level. Here, our mind, physical body and sensory body, they don't go into Par Brahm area. Everything stays behind. There is no mind, there is no sensory body, there is no physical body, only pure level of consciousness, only your soul goes in the Parbrahm area. From there, the soul will experience different level of consciousness. When we enter in that area, when our soul enter in there, it's only soul. And soul has 2 faculties or 2 powers. That's Nirit and Surat. Nirit means to see, Surat means to hear. Our soul will see everything and our soul will also hear everything. Everything. When we enter that area, the Par Brahm area, because the door that connects Brahm and Par Brahm, known as Dasam Dwar, is number 1. Then when we enter in the Brahm area, it has been subdivided into many sections so we can understand it better. You can understand it better. It's just such a big area to discover. As Chand Bhardwaj said, even Brahma is such a big area to discover. Now beyond time and space, now we are in Par Brahm. There is no math, there is no mind. Calculation doesn't even work. But there is a rough estimate given by many saints, especially Swamiji Maharaj. Especially Swamiji Maharaj, so we can understand roughly. So that area is such a huge area. When we enter in Par Brahm area, we enter there, the Dasma Dwar. When we exit Brahm and go to Par Brahm, that's Dasam Dwar. Then the Brahm area is subdivided into the lower part of the Par Brahm and upper part of the Par Brahm. Then there is a Sun, then there is a Mahasun, then there is a Sohangdesh. These 6 centers or chakras or levels. All these 6 centers or levels are consciousness levels of our soul. Like when our mind becomes from Pindi Man to Andi Man to Brahmandi Man. Same thing here. Our soul experience more consciousness, more, and more. Eventually, we will realize there is no difference between Atma and Paramatma. When you enter there, in the Dasam Dwar or Par Brahm area, first thing you will see is a full moon. That full moon is not a small little moon that we see in our galaxy. It's a big moon, and the light of that moon is equivalent to thousands and thousands of moons that we have in our galaxy or our solar system. How much light is there? The light is pure white. And there is a sound of Kingri Sarangi star. Kingri Sarangi Baje Tara, Ashir Brahm Sundarwara. That is how it has been explained by Kabir Sahib Ji too in a section so we can understand the Sun and Mahasun area or Par Brahm area. When you enter there, when your soul enters there, Swamiji Maharaj says, when I enter in the Par Brahm area, after my soul was going at a supersonic speed, after covering almost 40 million miles, then there is a Sun and Mahasun. And the Manasarovar or Amritsar or Triveni is in there, in Sun area, in the upper part of Par Brahm area. There is a, when soul gets there, it is such a beautiful area. Hard to explain because you can explain something with mind, body, or sensory body or anything. These things are already left behind. Now we are in an area where is only soul and Satguru, no one else. Even Satguru is there not in a physical form. Satguru is in a radiant form, in a Nuri Swarup. And your soul is also a Noor. Now Noor and Naad only. Noor and Naad. When you enter there. And Swamiji Maharaj says, after crossing even 40 million miles, went to the next place. Then crossing millions of miles, go to the next place. And Swamiji Maharaj says, you will see beautiful landscaping. You will see waterfalls of holy water. Waterfall. Ab-e Hayat. Avshare Ab-e Hayat. Or Amritsar. Many pools full with holy water or Amrit all over. And all those souls who are already there, those Hans, they are enjoying the blissful state in that area. They are enjoying the blissful state in that area and far from. And they are listening to the sound of Kingri, Sarangi, Star. What a beautiful place, hard to explain. Hard to explain. When your soul take bath in Mansarovar, in Son area, also known as Sahajdeep, in the very beginning of Anurag Sagar, Vishesh Paji already explained you about these deeps. Sahajdeep, Chaityadeep, all those things he already covered in the Anurag Sagar. That's one of those deeps or area, the Mansarovar area. Your soul will take a bath. There is a locust flower in the middle of that Amrit Sarovar. Your soul will take bath and come out of that locust flower. The light of your own soul becomes equivalent to 12 suns. Then you go to the next level. Next level is not only like 2 miles. It doesn't mean once your soul take a bath and the light of your own soul becomes 12, equivalent to 12 sun, doesn't mean the next level is just like 3 miles. Then again your soul travels and enjoys millions of miles of distance and experience all those things. That means now the level of our consciousness is also going up and up and up. Up and up. Enjoying the beautiful thing. Then finally there is a Mahan Sun or dark tunnel. You have to cross that dark tunnel. Your soul has to cross that dark tunnel, also known as Muqam-e Zulmat by many Sufi saints of Middle East. It is so darkness in there, you can't cross it. Even your soul has that much light, you can't cross it. Then how you will cross it? Your Satguru or Master is with you. You can cross that dark tunnel only if your Master already crossed it. If your Master hasn't crossed that dark tunnel, those Master or those Gurus are known as Sadgurus. You can stay there, enjoy the blissful state, listen to Kingri, Sarangi, star music. It is beyond time and space. You don't have to come back again in this physical universe. Just you're out of cycle of death and birth. Even in that area. It's a beautiful area to discover. If your Master already crossed that tunnel, then you and Master becomes one. Even if the light of your own soul is equivalent to 12 suns, if you try to enter in that dark tunnel or Muqam-e Zulmat, the light of your soul becomes as dim as the light of a candle. Then you will understand what is the meaning of Guru, the one who pulled you from darkness and takes you towards light. Then you merge into your Satguru. When Satguru gets there, the light of your Master is equivalent to 100,000 suns. 1 lakh Suraj da Jwala Satguru da. Then you will know what is Satguru. Guru, 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 Karman Mor, Guru Vina mein nahi hor. Now you know what is Master. What is the meaning of Guru? Now you know. This is Guru. That dark tunnel, Muqam-e Zulmat, is not a tunnel like 2-3 miles now. You get in there, you get out. No, it's a billion miles long. And as Chand Bhardwaj ji last time share the experience of Guru Mataji. We are so lucky to have Chand Paul Gaji in our group and Guru Mataji. We are learning so much from Chand Paul. And then Chand Paul, they explained that the experience of Guru Mataji. Then Chand Paul ji said, the light is green. There is a big beam of green light. The light is green in the dark tunnel, but there is no sound. As Kabir Sahib ji says, जाप मरे अजप्पा मरे नाद भी मर जाए कबीर आपा छोड़ के गुर माही समाए नानक आपा छोड़ गुर माही समाए. Now your identity is gone. Now you're one with your guru or master. When you cross that tunnel, and once you cross that tunnel, still there is more to discover. That area is so beautiful. There is all kind of things to see, all kind of things to experience with your soul. You keep going and going and enjoying. And that area is not small area, million, billion, trillion, zillion miles long. Keep going and going and going. Eventually, you go to the next level. Go to the next level, that is Sohang Desh, or Power Gufa, or Revolving Cave. The meaning of the Sohang is, I'm part of you. I'm part of you. Then we realize self-realization starts from Parabram. Now the soul is getting more conscious, more conscious, more consciousness. Then our soul start realizing from Power Gufa. When the soul get in there, then it says Sohung, Sohung, Sohung. The sound comes with the bean. The flute. Bonsri the awaaz. Not even one flute. Many flutes, different kind of flutes sound. And the sound will say Sohung, Sohung, Anahu, Anahu. Same meaning. I'm part of you. I'm part of you. That means at that point, soul will realize that I'm the part of the totality of consciousness. I am consciousness, but I'm part of that totality of consciousness. Now soul is ready to go to Sachkhand. And when soul goes to Sohang Desh, the light of the soul becomes equivalent to 16 suns. 16 suns. Then you go to Sachkhand. All these levels that I explained today, these are below Sachkhand. Sachkhand. Then there is a Sachkhand. Then after Sachkhand, there is Alak, Agam, and Anami Desh. In Sachkhand, the sound in Veen and Baja. That kind of sound you will hear, and the sound of Veen and Baja say Sat Sat Hak Hak Sat Sat Hak Hak Satnam Satnam Satnam. Sat means truth. Sachkhand means the always permanent. Nothing happened to Sachkhand. If there is a Parle or Mahaparle, Sachkhand is always as is. And when you go there, then you will realize there is no difference between unit of consciousness and totality of consciousness. Whatever is in the totality of consciousness is also in a unit of that consciousness known as soul. Then we will realize me and you are one. Gur Kirpa Jain Narpe Kini Tanje Jugt Pashani Nanak Leen Bhayo Govind Singh Jo Pani Sang Pani. When you go to Sachkhand, you become totality of consciousness. There is no difference between you and God. Otherwise, Nanak ji says, Gur Kirpa Jain Narpe Kini Tanje Jugt Pashani Nanak Leen Bhayo Govind Singh Jo Pani Sang Pani. As Saint Ravidas ji, whose birthday we recently celebrated like a day before, he also explained about this Sachkhand area, and he called Sachkhand Begumpura. And Babaji says, Saint Ravidas ji says, तोही मोही मोही तोही अंतर कैसा कर्क कटक जल तरंग जैसा. There is no difference between soul and God. No difference at all. Then after Sachkhand there is Alakh, Agam and Anami. In Alakh the one cannot be written. Agam, there is no way you can explain it, calculate it, or permanent. Agam, Anami, no name at all. Name is given to something or someone who take a birth. If someone take a birth, we name him or name her. But Vaheguru Paramatma, he is a unisegment. एको सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भो निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सेवन. He is beyond time and space. He is not in the cycle of death and birth. Same is our soul when the soul gets there. So all those 18 chakras are different level of experience. It could be energetic experience at the physical level. It could be awareness experience at the mental level, or it could be consciousness experience beyond time and space or beyond Parabrahm area. In Agami, Alakagam Anami days, there is no sound. There is light and light and light, more light. And how much light? Hard to explain. Billions light in Sachkhand. Million and billions of suns light is in Sachkhand. You can multiply it with million times, that's Alak. Then multiply again with billion times, that's Agam. Then multiply again with trillion billion times, that's Anami. That's how much light is there. And everything started from where? Light. Abbal Allah Noor Paya, as Kabir Sahib ji says. From light, Noor, then there is Naad. From light, then the sound created. Going back, we have to use the same aircraft. Aircraft of what? Naad and Noor. There was Noor or light, then the sound. We have to catch the sound and light. Then we will go back where we came from, that is Sachkhand. That is Sachkhand. And when we get there, then we will realize we never left even. As Ishwar Puri Maharaj says, we have never left the Sachkhand, we just lost the awareness. That means we lost the awareness. The main thing is the soul. As there is a big city, any city, say New Delhi, New York, whatever, any city, there is a main electric grid outside that city. That main electric grid is supplying electricity to the whole city. With that electricity, everything is running. All the factories are running. All the agriculture land and farmers are using that electricity to do agriculture. All the hotels, motels, school, college, university, even in the homes of all those people, all our appliances are running with the power of that electricity. We know that this is electricity, but most people don't even know where this electricity is coming from. Most people never even notice where is the main electric grid of their city or village. Same thing. The main power, source of power is soul, Atma. Mind got no power at all. Mind get power or energy from the soul. Mind get power from the soul. Then the sensory body get power from the mind. And the physical body get power from the sensory body. That's how the system is running. But the main power is coming from where? Atma. And Atma is already always connected with Paramatma. The main thing is Atma, soul. And when we discover that, that is what you can call self-realization. Then aap pashata, then nisho jata. Those who got self-realization, they know what God is. Self-realization is God realization. But once we discover it, then we know, yes, that was everything. Because everything is inside, but we have to discover it. At the physical level, who can discover all those energy centers? At the mental level, who can discover all those awareness level? Beyond time and space, far Brahm, then our soul becoming more and more and more consciousness. At the end, we'll see no difference between totality of consciousness and the unit of consciousness. If you bring a one drop of water from an ocean and take it to the lab, the analysis will be H2O. And what the same is in the whole ocean. If someone check the water of that ocean, what will be the analysis? H2O. Whatever is in that ocean is in the drop. Whatever is in the drop is in the ocean. Atam mein Ram, Ram mein Atam. Genus Gurbachara. Whatever is in Atma is in Paramatma. Whatever is in Paramatma is in Atma. But here Baba Nanaki says, Genus Gurbachara. Genus means know thyself. Gurbachara, here we need a company of a master. Without a master, we can't discover anything. We need to have a master. We need to have a Sant Satgur, Param Sant Satgur. Then he can help us how to discover everything. And he will be with us at all the times. Satgur, when perfect legal master gives you initiation, then he said at the third eye center and available 24/7. Even when you go to sleep, master is still there waiting for us. ਇੱਕੋ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਜਾਗਦਾ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਗ ਸੁੱਤਾ ਮੋਹ ਪਿਆਰ. We go to sleep, but master never does. Master never does. He's always at a wakeful state. He's waiting for us. We never even go there. And Hazur Maharaj Baba Sahib Ji used to say, I always wait and see if anyone comes so I can give him the blessings, the everything. Then Baba said, no one comes. Even Hazur Maharaj Baba Sahib Ji used to say, once you come and find me at Third Eye Center, once you find me inside, after that, your job is over, my job will start. Your responsibility is over, and my responsibility will start, and responsibility of the perpendicular master is to take your soul back to where we came from, Sachkhand. That's why master come here. Master come here to pick up the marked soul. He came here for us. For us. Par Swarth Karne Sant Liya Avatar. Saint never come here for their own purpose. They come here for us. He can take us back. He can take us back home. That's why the master comes here for us. And how much the master does for us, we don't even know. When you get initiation from a master, all your reserve karma or sanchit karma, that karmas we have been creating from many words of yogas, they stay in Brahm area, in Tirkuti. When you exit from one Brahm area, known as Guru Pad, that's the main ledger of karmas. All the karmas are stored there, but master already burned your karma, so you can exit from there. Our karmas, even the karmas that we done in our past life, known as Paralabdha or destiny, if we don't even create any more karma in this present life known as Kiriman karma, our past life karma, Paralabdha, has enough karma. That karma can pull us back here in physical universe more than 100 times. But master is willing to take you in one lifetime. What else we can expect from Sadhguru? What else we can expect from Sadhguru? Whatever he's giving us, sometimes I feel this is your Rahmat. Rahmat means when Sadhguru gives you something, you don't even deserve it. What master is giving us, Master Ishwar Puri, Baba Sawan Singh Ji, Chand Bharat, Guru Mata Ji, we don't even deserve it. They're just doing it as a mercy. There. They're doing it as a there. So we can go back home. Because they know. We don't. We don't. So we can go back home. if master play a video of your sanchit karma before giving you any initiation, most of us will be so shameful, we will run away. We will say, please, I don't want initiation, I'm so much embarrassed. But master never does. Like a mom or dad try to cover the bad habits of their kids. Same is Satguru here. Satguru already burned your past life karmas, all those sanchit karmas. Only thing that we have to deal with is the paralabha, the karmas that we created in our previous life. If we keep paying them happily, as Chand Paul's last session was so beautiful, so impressive, just pay off the karmas and don't expect anything. You're ready to go home. You're ready to go home. Ready to go home. Thank you. Please accept my seva and forgive all my mistakes. Thank you, Radha Swami.
Thank you, Brother Prempal. Hope you will give us a live talk soon. We want to see you. Okay, so now we can do a 5-minute meditation to prepare ourselves for our Holy Father, Ishwar Puri Ji, and enjoy his words and dip into his love and in God and in the kingdom of God. So 5 minutes of meditation.
Welcome, friends, to this great event that we are celebrating in these few days. In a couple of days, we'll be ready to celebrate the Bandara of Great Master Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. The Great Master initiated me on the 9th of March, 1936, long time back. I was talking to a friend of mine a few minutes ago who completed today 30 years of initiation. And I asked, what have you to show for this initiation? I said, I have been initiated for more than 80 years. I don't know what I can show for it. And that friend of mine reminded me that in 30 years, the events of life have convinced her what a master means and has given her unshakable faith. And then I realized that that's exactly what happened to me. That in 80 years, with so many life's ups and downs, all kinds of events happening in my life, good and bad, high and low, but one thing that came through during this period was a faith in my master which cannot be destroyed by any changes in life, whether they are up or down. If our faith is based upon what is happening in life, if good things happen, we have faith. So bad things happen, we lose faith. That is not the kind of faith that is generated by an initiation by a perfect living master. What he generates is a faith in who he is. By several events, some internal and some external. Internal events are some successful sessions of meditation where you can see things inside, hear sounds inside, be transported to other worlds inside, have some experiences which make you feel there is a greater reality bigger than the physical reality we're living in. And very often completely forgetting these experiences when we come out of meditation. And yet the effect of that meditation remains on us. These are the kinds of things that happen over time. And then we realize that who we have met, the great master, the perfect living master, looked like an ordinary person, but was not ordinary at all. No matter how much we describe a perfect living master, I feel it's so difficult. According to one mystic, it's impossible to know a master. You can never know a master fully. You cannot help but think he's another human being, because he is another human being. All your evidence, all your sensory perceptions show a perfect living master to be an ordinary human being. He functions exactly like us, no difference at all. He's born like us, dies like us, falls sick like us, takes medicines like us, eats food like us. Then where's the difference? He has arguments with his wife generally. We all happen to have the same kind of experiences. Then where is the difference between a perfect living master and ourselves? How can we see any difference? And yet something happens. If we get initiated by such a person, as we go on interacting with that person, we find there is something more in that person than we can see. We cannot always know what that something more is. But whatever that more is, it draws us to him or her in a way that our mind cannot explain. If I were to use language to describe that, I would say it's a pull that comes from a perfect living master that pulls us And the only words I can use is, it is from pure love of a master for us. I have no other words to tell you how that pull comes. But we like to be more and more with that master. We like to spend more time with that person. We like to have just look at that person, just have his darshan. It's a very strange feeling that how you are being pulled without anything so significant happening. Small things happen, we begin to call them miracles. Then we tell other people, oh, a miracle happened. I got into an accident and nothing happened to me. Car was totaled. It was a miracle. And the friend says, car was totaled, was it a miracle? He couldn't save your car. What kind of master is he? And we forget that totaling of the car and we are calling it a miracle. Same thing which somebody else says, a serious accident. You lost your car and we are saying it's a miracle. And we say it seriously. And we begin to believe it was a miracle. Where is this coming from? And then not only we believe it was a miracle, we write to Master, Master, thank you for saving me. How did Master save? We go to Master and say, Master, thank you, you saved us from that wonderful, great miracle you performed when the car was smashed and totaled. Nothing happened to us, we just walked out. And Master says, when did the accident happen? Where did it happen? As if he knows nothing about it. If he knows nothing about it, how are we feeling he knows? And when he denies, as if he knows nothing about it, we still feel he knows everything. These are such extraordinary experiences, no rational explanation, no logical explanation for this. The mind cannot understand it. Mind tries to understand and fails. Mind can create doubts, which interferes with our faith. So the mind is performing a certain function. It creates doubt. It's not doing something incorrectly, it's designed to do that. Mind is a machine, a computer-like machine given to us, attached to our consciousness. And when we use our mind, we use it by thinking. The most common use of the mind is thinking, because it is thinking all the time anyway. Its lifeline is dependent upon thinking. We say we are breathing, therefore we are alive. Our heart is beating, circulation is going on, therefore we are alive. We can also say the mind is thinking, therefore it's alive. If it stops thinking, it will die. Therefore, thinking is natural to the mind. In this thinking process, which is the main function of the mind, it uses that function for many things. It uses that function for trying to understand things. How does it understand things? We have delegated experience of a creation to our sense perceptions. Eyes to see, ears to hear. In this body, we have these sense perceptions, nose to smell, mouth to taste, hands to touch, legs to walk. All these five senses that operate upon the physical body, they are the ones that give us knowledge and experience of a creation outside, a physical creation. They are the same sense perception that can give us a experience of non-physical creation, like imagination. When we imagine things in imaginary state, we can also see things, we can hear things, we can touch, taste and smell also. So therefore, the sense perceptions are giving us knowledge and awareness of this physical world. But do these sense perceptions make any sense of their own? No. Let me give an example. I look at these beautiful flowers. They are really beautiful. I can touch them. I can smell them also, even from a little distance. Beautiful flowers. Where did I know that they are beautiful flowers? Did my eyes say? they're beautiful flowers? Did my hand say they're beautiful flowers? Did any sense perception say they're beautiful flowers? Not at all. My eyes saw shapes and colors. That's all. My hands touched something that had a tactile sense, something solid. Apart from that, I could not think of beautiful flowers till the thinking mind made them beautiful flowers. So thinking mind is performing a big function. And if I tell you great details, you'll be surprised. When the eyes see something, they are seeing colors and shapes. They cannot see anything more than that. They are just seeing colors and shapes all around. Ears can hear sounds. That's it. They cannot hear language. They cannot understand anything. When we use our eyes and ears, how do we know what a person is saying? How can we know these are beautiful flowers? It is because the mind interprets them based upon a very good reservoir it has called memory. It is remembered that when we grew up as children and we saw the flowers, somebody called them flowers. That got stuck in our mind. And therefore, we saw many types of flowers. Every time different flowers came, they used the same word flower. The meaning of that sound, flowers, became deeper and deeper as we saw many flowers. But this is just an association of ideas of the memory. We stored the memory that the word flowers means that particular experience of seeing these things, that shapes and colors that called flowers. And that kept on repeating as we saw more and more the same thing. Every experience we are having is interpreted exactly the same way. The association of ideas with those experiences has generated language. What we heard, the sound that we heard, they constituted language based upon the association of ideas we had stored in the memory of the mind. So mind has a reservoir attached to it called memory, where it stores these things and uses that memory to interpret new experiences. Now another interesting thing which will be understood by people who meditate. It's not something philosophical. The mind, when it thinks, it speaks. We hear it. If it did not speak, we would never know what we are thinking. Then, if the mind speaks, who hears? Who listens? We listen. The self listens. The soul listens. Our real self listens. Our real self is nothing but a listener. It's an amazing experience. The mind is the speaker, the soul is the listener all the time. When we see flowers, the mind in a very short time says, this shape and color are flowers. When it says that, we listen and the word flowers becomes an experience of flowers. This is happening inside. Through meditation, you will see that all thoughts are speech. When we speak outside like I am speaking to you now, it's again the mind speaking. And my tongue is just uttering what the mind is thinking and speaking. So thinking process is actually the mind speaking. So it's very interesting. Why I'm emphasizing this is because those who do not know the distinction between our real self, the soul, and the mind that thinks, they have an opportunity now in meditation to listen to the mind and realize you are not the mind. The mind can also use the sense perception of vision, not the vision with these eyes, the inner vision with the imagination. The inner vision draws pictures in front of the mind. And we can see that the mind is using the same process of interpreting the inner visions as it interprets the outer visions. It's a great exercise for understanding the difference between the mind and the soul, the mind and your real self. Because spiritual path that we are following is nothing more than discovering your own true self, your highest self, the reality of yourself. If you can find who you really are, you have discovered everything, including God who created us. You can find answers to all your questions if you can find who you are. Socrates said, know thyself. All others have said, discover your reality within yourself, not outside. There is no power sitting anywhere outside that can do anything what you can do from your real self inside. These are remarkable experiences that we get on the spiritual journey. Great Master's teachings were very simple. He said, what you see outside is inside. One great master said, Bahar bhitar eko jano. What is outside is also inside. We go further. What is outside is being created outside because it is inside. This is a little more difficult to understand. That the world we are seeing outside would not be seen by us through sense perceptions if it wasn't inside us. Therefore, it's a projection we are having. The analogy I sometimes give of going to see a movie. We go to see movies. They become very popular now. And we buy tickets. We pay a price for going and watching a show taking place on a blank screen. There is nothing on the screen at all. But a projector is behind us. A film made much earlier. Not at that time. A film made much earlier is loaded into that projector. And there's a light put behind that. And the film made of short still pictures which run one after the other very quickly create a feeling of motion, movement because of the persistence of vision of our eye. That if things move very fast, even if they are still pictures, they look like moving. When we were little children, they used to give us a little book with different pictures. We used to flip them fast and we saw all the movements. There is nothing different in today's movie. Every picture is a still picture moving fast and we see it like movement. We are not looking at that. We are not looking at the light. We are not looking at the projector. We are not looking at the film loaded into it. We do not know when it was shot. We are looking at the screen in front which is blank. On the blank screen, images are coming. And we are taking them to be real. A serious crisis has come. Somebody is going to be murdered on the screen. We sit on the edge of the chair. Somebody cracks a joke on the screen. We laugh as if it's really happening. What is happening? Nothing but shadows. Nothing but a projected shadow. And we are looking intensely at the screen. Why don't we say, oh, this is not real. It's only a film being projected. Why are we taking it so seriously? Why did we have to pay a price to come and see it? Just to see shadows? We are seeing so much reality outside. Why do we pay a price to come and see shadows? This question was raised long ago. Why are people wanting to see shadows? Why are people wanting to see imitation of life when they are already living a life? When we are living our life, where is the necessity to go to a movie and get happy about it? After seeing some murders and horrible accidents on the movie, we are happy. And we come out happy. Oh, great movie. Big tragedy, but great movie. Can we say that about life also? How come when life is represented on a screen through shadows, we say great? When the same life is happening in our own life, we can't call it great. with the same kind of things happening. The Greek philosophers went into this question and they gave different answers. Socrates, who believed that everything is inside us, and he said so. In all his debates, he says, it's all a projection from consciousness within our head. Therefore, we should find what is inside. We should find ourselves. That was his whole theme. His disciple, Plato, another great philosopher, he intellectualized this. He intellectualized it and trying to explain it in terms which people could understand outside. Plato said, what Socrates means is that the ideas we are having in our head are more real than the things you see outside. And he gave an example. He said, you are sitting on chairs now. We call them chairs. Chairs are of thousands of designs. Every one of them is called a chair. Where did it come from? How do we call a chair when there are so many thousands of types of chairs? We use one word. What is the idea of a chair? Where did it come from? He examined this based upon Socrates saying that everything is inside, and he came to the conclusion the idea of a chair came before a chair could be made. Therefore, the idea of a chair is more real than the chairs we make, because without that idea, you couldn't make it. And the idea of a chair is inside your head, not outside. He said, before the idea of a chair came, something must have come even before that. So he began to differentiate between ideas and what he called concepts. A concept comes, then an idea, then a material physical presence. He called them the causal, the astral, and physical levels of creation. The concepts come in what we call the causal level of the mind. That means people were all sitting on the floor. The concept that we can sit higher if we like came up. It is not a chair. It is merely a concept that can't we sit higher up, it's better for our legs. Maybe it is better. Then the idea came, we can make something. We can make a material thing which can be higher than the ground, and we can call it a chair. We can rest our arms and make an armchair. But we can make a chair, and one chair came into the head as an idea. All the millions of chairs today are born out of that one idea of a chair. Therefore, Plato said, it's the idea that creates the chair. And ideas are more real than this physical world. It wouldn't exist. Nothing would be here if we didn't have the idea. Chair was just an example of everything. It can apply to everything we are watching. Then comes another disciple of Plato and Socrates named Aristotle. Aristotle wanted to bring it down to the ground. He said, you people are talking of high stuff. People don't understand. The Athenians have no idea what you're talking about. Tell them something practical. Tell them, why are we creating this artificial world? And he took the example of a drama. There were no movies in those days. Movies are a modern invention of the old drama that used to take place on a stage. So when he took the example of a drama, he said, people are acting on the stage. They are not real people. They are just people picked up from outside and given certain characters. A king on the stage, maybe a barber outside. And sometimes the kings in the early plays used to sharpen their razor as a king also. They used to forget that they are kings. But a good actor would not, even as a barber, would not rub his razor out on the screen when he's acting on the stage, when he's acting as a king. So therefore, a pretended act acted act, not real, was part of the drama. But the people watching said there's a real king. The king killed his queen, and people cried. They forgot that there is no killing at all. It's just an actor. The wife has not died. The queen has not died. She's just fallen down as an act. And people cried, what cruel this king was. Why did they take something which was merely a show, merely an idea put into place? Why did people take it so seriously? Why did they forget that this is just an act? It's a very big question he raised, because he then comes to the conclusion that the act that we are playing here as characters, we are also taking it as real. We are no different than the people of Athens who took a drama on the stage as real while they were watching it and emotionally responded to it, laughing and crying depending upon what the actors were doing. Tragedy took place, they cried. Comedy took place, they laughed. We do the same things today with movies. How can we do that if we know this is just a movie, just a shadows being thrown by a light and pre-prepared film loaded in a projector? Why are we doing that? He came to the conclusion that we need this. Human beings need this experience to make that unreal thing into real, to take care of their emotions. Human beings have been gifted not only with an awareness of the self, of the mind, of the body, but also an awareness of their situation in this game we call life, in which emotions play a very important role. And the reactions we have on watching a movie, or the reactions they had on watching a play, is to deal with emotions of a human life. That we are unable to handle emotions of what we think is real unless we create an artificial reality and deal with those emotions. And therefore, we willingly suspend our disbelief. That's what Aristotle said, that when we watch drama, which will be true to say when we watch movies, while we are watching them, we willingly suspend our disbelief of what is happening. We say it is actually happening. This is a need which the mind provides so that we can get rid of the excess of our emotions. He called it catharsis of emotion, that we have to deal with our emotional life, and therefore we need a reality created out of non-reality. If you understand this old Greek philosophy, you understand the same is true today. Who are we actually in this created drama? How is it being created? Let's compare it with how the movie is created. There's a blank screen. There's a blank space and time here. We project something which was made earlier. We are projecting a life which was made earlier. How are we projecting? With a little projector, our head, our body. Where is the light? Our soul is the light. Our self is the light. Where is the film? Where is the film loaded? In the mind, in front of the soul. How is it being projected? The mind is carrying the film of the life that we recorded earlier. Completely recorded. And how are we seeing it? On the screen, outside, and by a subtle arrangement, we made it a multi-dimensional screen, which is not very difficult. They are making 3D movies now, just by putting extra glasses. We have been given those glasses naturally by giving 2 eyes. If we had only 1 eye, we would not see space and time like we see now. We have been given 2 ears. They are creating space and time, ears and eyes. If we had 1 ear and 1 eye, world would be very different, would be flat. It's became multi-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional. Time has been created by the mind. So it's a wonderful way. A new type of screen has been created on which we are projecting something with our own light. And through the memory of a film recorded earlier, a life made earlier and completely recorded. And when it is watching, when we are watching the movie or living this life, we say, now what will happen next? We say that in the movie, we say it here. Don't we know that what is going to happen next is already in the film? Don't we know that what is going to happen is predetermined and will happen anyway? Doesn't it happen like that? Therefore, we are making the same mistake, deliberate mistake, in order to achieve the same result, to take care of the emotional side of a human life. It's very simple. So we are using the same method in a much bigger scale of a creation that is so wide. That's a big screen. We are seeing it is the biggest screen we can create. The whole universe is a big screen. And all we are watching is being projected from inside us. All the people we see are already inside us. All the acts we see is inside us. Now, is this just a theoretical model these Greek philosophers made? Or is it something verifiable? That's a very important question. Maybe the world is real and we are just here sensory perceptions to watch what is there. Or maybe they were right, that the whole thing is inside and being projected the way they say it's being projected like a movie. How can we finally find out what is true? Not a new question. For thousands of years people have said, do we see a tree because we see it is there, or is the tree there, therefore we see it? Which is the cause? Which is the effect? Is the tree the cause or seeing the cause? Not a new question. They've asked for thousands of years. They've divided themselves into two parts. Those who say a tree has to be there before you can see it. This world has to exist prior to your being able to experience it. We call them the materialists because they believe material is real, matter is real. And those who believe in the Socratic theme or the Platonic idea that the world of ideas is more real, they say no, it's all being created from your consciousness inside. And they are called idealists. The debate between the materialists and idealists has been going on for a long time. And they are using their mind, using their thinking. Both sides are arguing, not coming to any conclusion. But neither side is realizing that if we want to understand something, is it happening from inside or not? Why not go inside? If it is happening outside, go outside. Outside we are here already and we are seeing what is happening. Let's go inside and see the other side. That's the simple answer. They don't go inside. If the answer is so simple that you say, is things happening inside creating the world, or the world is outside, therefore you are experiencing it, you have seen the world outside, it is there. Now go inside and see if it is there also. See if the real world from which the outside is a projection is actually there or not. This is the best answer. If it is there, you validate the idealist. If nothing is there, then you validate the materialist. It's a simple matter of going within your own self, not somebody else. No lab is needed, no science facility is needed. So close your eyes and go back to the meditation chamber behind the eyes. Make sure you are there and no longer in any lower part of your body. That the lower part of your body is the lower part of the house in which you live. You are on the 6th floor behind the eyes. Push your chair backwards so it comes right to the center. Sit on it and relax. And await your master's appearance. Meantime, repeat the words of mantra. Slowly, very deliberately, so you can listen to it. Any sounds come, drop the repetition, listen to the sound. Sound becomes weak, restart the repetition. If you can visualize the master, think of him. If you cannot, still talk to him. He's hiding behind the curtain in front of you. Still talk to him. Tell him what you feel. Tell him what you want to do. Express your love and devotion for your master. If he replies to your questions, repeat the 5 words of the Simran or any mantra you have to check it is the master's voice, master giving you the answer. If not, continue your conversation for the master behind the curtain. If you can see him, look at his eyes and forehead. If you can see the eyes and forehead, it is the master. While repeating Simran, if you see the eyes and forehead, it is the master himself there. Express your love and devotion. Tell your master whatever you want to tell. This is the best opportunity. Request for anything that you want. Say steady with any request that you have.